Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jumper and today I'll be reviewing the second DLC pack, that being Banned Footage Volume 2 for Resident Evil 7, which was released back on the 14th of February of 2017. Now, this is the second DLC pack for Resident Evil 7, and this contains 21 daughters and Jack's 55th birthday. Now, this DLC, I would say I prefer a bit better than the first volume of the banned footage DLC for Resident Evil 7. Mainly because I would say it adds a bit more suspense to the Resident Evil 7 formula, that being quite suspenseful, all up in your face, that sort of thing. And yes, so with Jack's 55th birthday, it's basically this sort of, it's kind of similar to the mercenary mode in Resident Evil Village, in that you have to try and fight enemies under a specific amount of time, and the better you score and stuff like that, the more areas you can explore and stuff. And but it's to give Jack a variety amount of food like chicken, stew, spice, that sort of thing, and wine, so that the more he eats, the higher the score is. And when he's completely full, you'll get a particular score depending on how far you're timed and stuff like that. So yeah, and you will get to fight a variety of enemies, mainly the molded and stuff like that. So yeah. Then there's 21, which is basically a Lucas focused minigame, in that you've got two victims of the Baker family, and you have to basically try and get 21 or near to 21, because it's a card game, closer to that particular number before your opponent does. And you're given two cards at the start. One number that you're shown, and I think another number that you're not shown. And you think, okay, I've got this amount of cards, and I've got this amount of score, and I try and either get a card, like I get some new cards, or try and stay with the one I've got. And with that one, you try and like use either these other special effect cards that can affect yourself or your opponent. And it can be hard sometimes, because like you have to really think of, okay, my opponent has, let's say, 5, 6, and 2, and I've got 1, 3, and 9, and you really have to try and figure out, okay, I've got this amount of cards. Do I risk it by getting a new card added, or do I just stay and have my opponent get closer to 21? So that's kind of, it's really a bunch of strategies and stuff, and it's one of those. Another thing when it comes to the main game, when it comes to Lucas's section, where it's really just a saw trap, in the sense that you have to like beat your opponents, and you've got these weird traps. Like you've got like the first one, you basically have to, your fingers get chopped off, and there's like this rotating saw blade and stuff like that. So that's quite suspenseful. And then there's the final one that I haven't mentioned yet, that being Daughters. And this is basically a prologue of sorts to the main game, in that it shows the events of how the Bakers became victims to Evelyn's mold powers. And yeah, this does really help them flesh them out, in the sense that they are just more victims to Evelyn. And when you compare them to the other people that they've captured over the years before the events, or the main events of Resident Evil 7. Because when you look at the victims that the Bakers did, or had, you can see that they are being influenced by Evelyn. And then when you see the prologue, when you see Daughters, you can see that, it just adds more to the fact that the Bakers were victims as well, and as well as that they were just being controlled and manipulated by Evelyn, who was a bioweapon, and was basically just out of control, basically. And yeah, and I do like how with Daughters, you've got two alternate endings. So you've got the good ending and the bad ending. Now the good ending pretty much leads up to the events of Resident Evil 7. That being, if you do a specific amount of events. So if you look at the passcode that Lucas has, reads his thing on his computer, I think his like notes or something, go to and collect a particular item for the door that you can escape from, and then that'll lead to the good ending, which basically all of the Bakers sort of like acting normal, but then you see Evelyn in the background of the family, and then that's the true ending, and those events lead to the main events of Resident Evil 7. Now the bad ending is if you try and go through the garage, yeah, and that's basically the bad ending. And I would say that it's a very good bit of storytelling, and I do really like how sort of a prequel prologue thing to the main game. So yeah, so overall, I think that Resident Evil 7 Banned Footage Volume 2 is a good part to the story, and it's a nice bit of DLC, and I do really like it as a whole. So yeah, so that's been my review for Banned Footage 2 for Resident Evil 7. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.